So starting with marketing. Okay. And I want you guys to just have context real quick. And hopefully you guys have heard me say this enough, but you have marketing and you have advertising. And most people, we think of marketing and advertising as the same thing. So first, before we get into marketing, I need you guys just to understand that advertising is when you take your money and you're paying a platform like social media platforms that we use, or old school was, newspaper, uh, radio, print, right? So it's paying someone else to put your material out there. And, obviously, if that's what they do, they're professional, they have more data, they have more knowledge, hopefully, right? Hopefully they're great at what they do. And so you're paying for that speed to getting to your perfect customer. Marketing is when you're more in control of it. Marketing is different than branding. And so it's making sure that we don't confuse words, and we have to completely understand what we mean when we say something. So marketing is when you are in control of the delivery mechanism. Okay. So a great form of marketing, a lot of you guys go do school presentations, or you go set up a booth, or you literally go knocking on doors. Okay. It's you in control of it. You're not paying someone else for it, and you're not just doing it to put your brand out there. And so marketing is the best strategy in the industry that we're in because one, for advertising to work, you need volume, frequency, consistency, and that comes at a price. And unless you're willing to have such a strong level of belief that you can spend X amount of money ahead of time, knowing that will come back to you, and you can weather that storm, right? I read a thing today. Walt Disney World is going to shut down today. And just in Orlando, they bring in about $35 million a day. $35 million a day is way more than I could even understand that they would do. And during COVID, they were losing $20 to $30 million a day. And so think about this. When you choose to shut down and theoretically lose $35 million in income, plus they're still paying their people today. So, they have the ability to weather storms, no pun intended, like COVID for months on end because they have an abundance, they have success. And that's what success does for you guys. It creates opportunity. Whereas if you guys had to lose $3,500 a day, not million, $3,500 a day, how many days could you go before you're just out of business, right? Could you go 10 days? Could you lose $35,000 just to stay in business? Could you go 100 days? Could you go, how long could you go? So advertising is just really hard in our industry because we have the hardest time getting to our perfect customer. And we've been talking about the perfect customer, and this is so important that you guys know what your perfect customer is. So you don't waste your time, you don't waste your money, you don't waste your energy. Okay. So marketing is we're in control, and we can go direct to our perfect customer. So you got to know who that is. And you have to know who that is and where are they so you can get direct to them. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, now that we kind of have an understanding of what marketing is compared to advertising, and hopefully you guys have a really good definition of who your perfect customer is. There is the opportunity now, and it's proven over and over again, that using influencers, and I know it's a word that is more popular now, but it's been going on for decades, but we have new platforms that we can get a hold of influencers at different scales that can impact your business in one day. So I will say, and if you haven't seen the movie that came out a couple years ago, I would recommend just for research, even if you're not a big movie guy. But I would say that more than likely, probably one of the first big time quote unquote influencers that was used for marketing was Michael Jordan. And Nike was a company, barely on the map, and they put all their eggs in the basket of up and coming star into the NBA. And it was a huge bet. And of course it paid off. Otherwise we'd probably still know the name Michael Jordan, but you probably wouldn't know the name Nike anymore, or wouldn't have, because they were not the big player they are today. And so I think the movie was called Air. I would recommend go watching it just for context. But there is someone in your community that if you had their platform where they promoted your business, almost overnight, it would give you more authority, because there's something more powerful about someone else talking about you than you talking about you. So for anybody who's a parent here, okay, I didn't understand this when I was younger, but my dad would be at karate tournaments. And my dad would talk to his peers, his karate buddies, about me when I was a kid in front of me when I'm there, bragging about him. And he's just a proud dad. And it was embarrassing and frustrating. And it felt like I put a bigger target on my back. But now as a dad, man, I love talking about Jackson's accomplishments more than mine. And so I get it. I get it now. Okay. And it's much more powerful letting someone else promote you than you promote yourself. But you got to promote yourself too. You got to do both. So, one, we have to understand the concept of what an influencer is. I think a lot of times we think about some big celebrity and we think it's going to cost a lot of money. And the answer is neither have to be true. You don't need a big celebrity and you don't need to spend any money to make this work. You do have to have a great product and you do have to know who your perfect customer is and make sure that there's an alignment with who you're going after. Okay. So one, just knowing what an actual influencer is. Okay. Next, do your research. First thing I would ask you guys is, do you know someone right now in your personal community, in your bubble that you live in, that aligns with your perfect customer, that has a platform, small, medium, big, doesn't matter, that you wish you had them inside the walls of your business? You wish their kids took martial arts at your school. Yesterday, I talked about Tom Brady. Tom Brady had his kids in a martial arts program. Man, if I was in Boston back in the day when his kids were doing this, I don't know where they live now. I'm assuming, I don't know if they still live in Tampa or where they live or Vegas, wherever they are. But if I was at Tom Brady's level, I would be hiring the best instructors in the world and I would move them to me and they'd be working directly with my kids. Okay. And how do I know people do this? Because about 17, 18 years ago, somewhere around there, I had a 3-hour long meeting with a husband and a wife. And they offered me a job to move to Texas to be the personal instructor of their twin kids, live on their property, and to be their personal instructor of their kids. Now, this person is the greatest American icon in martial arts. Okay. And if I have to tell you his name, then you don't know much about martial arts. But there's not a greater American icon when it comes to martial arts. And at the end of this meeting, I asked them to give me some time to think about it. And they just told me the meeting was in July. They want to know before the end of the year. And I did think about it really hard. I was young, so I was 20. This is probably 22 years ago. It's a lot longer than I'm thinking about. And I turned down the offer, decided to open my own martial arts school instead, and gave them my recommendation of who they should hire. And that person to this day still teaches those kids who are now in their mid-20s, graduated college. Okay. So they respected my opinion enough to hire the person I recommended for the job. If I was Tom Brady and had his notoriety, that's what I would do. But he didn't do that. He put him in a martial arts school. How many of you guys, if you were in the area and that was your school, what would you be willing to do to have his kids, knowing that they might not be there for long? He plays sports. He could be traded. He could be cut. He could be fired. He could get hurt. Could go anywhere he wants to. Money's not an issue. What would you do to have someone walking in at that level to be your student? One of my schools in Atlanta, a couple years ago, we had 2-time Grammy award-winning artist that was a student, and his kids were a student. And without asking, multiple times on his Instagram and on his Facebook, he posted himself in our gi, our brand's gi. Even made a meme of it with him dressed as Bruce Lee one time. He has, I don't know, a couple million followers on social media, has big influence. And I had negotiated for him to be available to leverage that. But someone above us shot it down because he didn't understand who this guy was. And it could have been a game changer, if not maybe for the whole nation, for a community. Because this person I'm talking about is a musician in Christian rap. I know that's a very niche market. Matter of fact, that summer, he had the #1 hip hop hit. I'm excited he won 2 Grammys this past year, by the way. And matter of fact, if you know the song I'm talking about referencing, like it will probably be a popular song forever. But imagine having that opportunity. Matter of fact, he was going to show up at a Atlanta event that happens in the summer at a graduation that we host and perform the song that my son used in tournaments, but perform it live while he's on stage for our Black Belt graduation. Now that's a big time artist because they happen to walk in our business. So think about, we don't have to go crazy, but who has a platform that if they were wearing your brand's clothing and people start asking questions, right? I mean, last year you could not turn on the news without hearing about Kelsey and Swift. You couldn't, like, you still hear about it. All right. What if someone like that stature walked into your business? It could change your whole future forever. There's this girl that had an interview a month ago, 2 months ago, and she's getting her 15 minutes of fame right now. If you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Like, she happened to just be a drunk girl getting interviewed, and now her life's changed that fast. So, who do you personally know, or who do you know that's in your community that aligns with your perfect customer that you want, wish, hoped? If you say, I have nobody, Aaron, I don't know anybody, I'm not connected that way, I'm not, okay. The next thing I do is I go to my customer base and I start asking my customers who fit the perfect profile, who do you know? And they don't need 1 million followers, but maybe they have 100,000 followers. Maybe they have 50,000 followers. They have a platform. Maybe they write a blog and they have the ear and the eyeballs of your perfect customer. And what would it take for you to grab this person to partner with you? Okay. What would it take? Could it take money? Sure. Could you work out some arrangement? But don't hit them with that right off the bat. So I'm going to switch gears here. Some of you guys in selling do this. You have a product you want to sell. And you go to someone and say, hey, Ben, I think your son's ready for this membership level. Got a crazy opportunity for you. It's a $20,000 package. I'm going to sell it to you for $10,000. And you think because you're giving them so much value for such a low price, it's a no-brainer. And they say, nah, we're not interested. And you move on to the next person because you don't ask the next question, because the first no is where the game starts. And the no, and you should go from, okay, well, let me ask you, is it no, you don't like our product? No, you don't want this ever? Or is there something else? No, we love it. It's just, we don't have the $10,000. Okay. So if you had the money, you would want to do this. Yes. Oh, now I got a yes. Okay. Well, what would it take for me to help you make sense of this? What structure could I create for you that you could make this work? Well, I don't know. What do you think? Well, hey, instead of taking this one time from you, what if I split that over 12 equal installments? Okay, could you manage $900 a month for the next 12 months to be able to get this program? Well, I might be able to do that. Okay. Like, you could keep going, but you just hear the first no, you stop. Same thing on grabbing an influencer. You think of how to shoot them the idea of, hey, look, I want to offer you $100 every time somebody signs up and it comes through you. This person might not need money. They might have more money than sense sometimes, right? Like they might not need money. They might not even want that. So you've got to do your research about, one, do you know your perfect customer? Two, who has the ear and the eyes of those people in your community that people respect? And then what would that person want or need? Because you have to research and know that person. And then how do you get their attention so you can sit in front of them? So one thing you should do, guys, follow them on social media. Okay. I had a business owner I met with today in person, and they actually said to me, I don't do that social media thing because it's not my thing. I don't want attention. Like, don't do it for you. Do it so you can be connected to the people who are connected to your customers. So you should be following the people that you want their attention of. Then share their content. Help promote their platform. Give before you ask. Okay. And then find out what they value and find a way to get them more of that. What are they actually ultimately seeking? Are they a part of a nonprofit? Or are they connected with other businesses? Who do you know that you could bring to them to collaborate with them? Give them something without ever asking anything in return. And if they are the big winner, be willing to go to them anytime to make it easy. I'm reaching out to two big time influencers right now. And in my communication with them, I've said to them, at any time, any place, anywhere in the world, if I'm able to sit down in front of you instead of through Zoom or phone call, I will be there within less than a day. Any place, anytime, anywhere. One of these guys travels the world. He's in Dubai a lot of times. If that's where I had to go tomorrow, at any cost, I'd be there. Because it would be that big of a game changer for my life, for my family. It would be a game changer, I think, for my great great grandkids that I'll never meet. I think it's that big of a deal. Right now, I'm starting at the top and I'm working my way down because I'm not going to, me personally, because I'm going from zero. I'm going to go from zero how fast I can go. I want the biggest fish. I want the whale, not even the fish. And then I'll work my way down. Okay. Um, give you guys some proof here. There's a drink that my kids like. Okay. It's got some famous influencers that own it, promote it. Some of them fight in the ring. I don't even like the product. It ain't as good as its competitors, if you ask me. Supposedly, it's not even good for you when you read all this stuff online. But they are beating hand over fist, whatever that saying is. They are beating the two biggest players in the industry. The other drinks that are been there for 50 years, they're beating them crazy speed of how fast they got there. What people don't know about is the company existed. The company existed before these guys jumped on board as equity partners and owners. The company was already there. They couldn't figure out how to make money. They weren't winning. They go to the big players and they say, "Hey, what would it take for you guys to come on board and do this with us?" And now not only is that company beating its competitors at rapid speed, but if you turn on the UFC, they're one of the biggest sponsors of UFC. They went to who they believe their perfect demographic is. Okay, they're in the fight game. They're in boxing and UFC, and they go directly through who they believe their consumers are watching them. It makes their influence even more powerful. If you guys know the biggest YouTube star, he now has a chocolate company. Okay, and he's rivaling the biggest players in the space, and he's not a chocolate guy, but he had an influence, he had power, and he jumped into the space, and it's made it to the point that his demographic, which is a younger generation, are moving the needle at rapid speed. So if you could find this perfect person in your community, what do they value? And what would you have to do to get in front of them? And what would you have to offer them that it would be such a big motivator for them? And it does not have to be money. Okay. So things that I'm looking for to give you guys some context. Okay. Alignment. This person aligns with my perfect customer. Got to know who your perfect customer is. I'm looking for people that have anywhere from, a micro influencer, which would be 10,000 followers on social media, something like that. Okay. And yes, people at a high level. Okay. There are people that you could grab potentially, right? Like I said, someone could have, Tom Brady walked into someone's martial arts school and someone could have leveraged that and they didn't. Okay. So like that could happen if you're in the right market. I'm visiting Curtis' school tomorrow. He's in a market where there are people that live there part of the year. They're not there full time. There's a lot of people who travel there, play there. There's a lot of professional athletes there, golfers, etc. A lot of them have kids, right? But you got to be great because someone at Tom Brady's level is not bringing his kids to a crappy program. You see what I'm saying? Like you guys have to have a great program. This is why your product, I keep saying about your product's got to keep improving. It's got to keep improving because you're not going to attract someone to bring their kids to you if your program's not any good. And that's why the instruction on the floor is going to be awesome. Okay. So anywhere from that 10,000 followers and up, and then they have to align with my perfect customer. They have to have eyes and ears of that generation of the people I'm trying to attract. Okay. And then I want to know how we partner or collaborate together that could be a benefit for both. And I want to give to them by following them, promoting what they do, finding what it is they're actually trying to use their platform for, and supporting that. That's where that alignment comes in. Okay. Um, and then giving them the ability, if you create this opportunity, you do not need five, you don't need 10, you need one or two. Okay. And so I'd be curious if you guys know who that person is, or 10 people that are, and what would it take for you to grab that person's attention. And so I think what people do is they always think about the biggest person first, which is great if you have the ability to, know that's going to be a long game. But I guarantee there's probably already people inside your business today that has influence in your community today, but you don't even ask, you don't know, you're not connected, you're not leveraging it. And so think about, I'm telling you right now, if one of you guys handed me your business today and I had no money, because this is the game you should play. Like, this is exactly what I'm gonna do with Curtis tomorrow, guys. I'm gonna be physically with him, sitting in front of him, and I'm gonna take this scenario. I know nobody. I got dropped off in this credit school. I got no money. I've got X amount of students. I got a mat. I got some mirrors. I got some bags. I got a roof over my head, and that's it. What do I do? First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my customer base. Okay. And I'm gonna see who's my customer and who do they know or who are they? And so think about this, just to give you context for influencer. There's probably someone in your business right now who is a manager of a business that has 20 or 30 or 50 employees. That's an influencer. If they manage 50 people, 100 people, 20 people, that's an influencer. So you got to think about, like, how does this make sense? Because if that person's in your business right now and they manage 50 people, they're responsible for 50 people's livelihood. And those 50 people probably have kids. Like, that's an influencer. Doesn't have to be just social media. A lot of times that's all we think about. So if I had no money, I knew nobody, I'm gonna look at my customer base. And then if I have 50 students, I'm gonna look at those 50 people and I'm gonna find the one or two people that I want to latch onto and collaborate with and network with, because they have the keys to the kingdom, so to speak. Okay. Like, who do you know? Then while I'm doing that, I'm gonna look at my community, and my community starts with my shopping center or my location. And I'm gonna know every manager, I'm gonna have all their cell numbers. And I'm gonna do that in one day. It doesn't take long. And I'm gonna ask who they know. And I'm gonna ask what they need from me. How can I support them? That's where I'm starting. And then every time someone comes in, you have always or nevers. Every time someone comes in, question, guys. Everybody right now, just put your hand up if you've had at least one appointment this week for a first lesson, second lesson, third lesson. I don't care. Someone came in this week. Today's Wednesday. So on Monday or Tuesday, you had at least one person that was brand new, never been to your place. Anybody put a hand up for me? One person, two people. Okay. So two people of everybody on this call had somebody come in for an appointment. The rest of you guys have had no appointments. Okay. So first of all, you need appointments. You should be booking 20 minimum a week. Okay. If someone showed up this week, your first appointment, they walked in. Second appointment, walked in. Okay. Third appointment, they're on a trial. They're not a member yet. You're trying to sign them up. Always or nevers. Did you ask, hey, Sarah, let me ask you a question. I'm excited that you got your son here. Hey, by the way, who, not do you, who do you know that needs to be here with your son going through this experience with him? Who does your son know that really wants to do this with him? Not do you know anybody? Who? Okay. Oh, his best friend, Sally. Sally girl, Sally boy, because I don't know anymore, right? All right, great. Hey, what is Sally? Oh, Sally goes to class with him, in school with him? Oh, they play baseball together? Okay, great. I bet $100 there's not a single person on this call that it's an always. That every time someone comes in, first time, second time, fifth time, you go to close them, they say yes. You go to close them, they say no. You're on the phone with them for the prospect call. Hey, Sarah, by the way, I've got your son Ben scheduled to come in on Tuesday next week. Hey, who do you know that needs to come with your son? Who's friends with your son that needs to come with him? I bet right now, $100 a person. It's not an always. It's a sometimes, if sometimes, maybe, occasionally, once in a blue moon. So I'm going to start with who's in my customer base. I'm going to find someone who's an influencer there, then my shopping center. And then every time I get someone to walk in or call me, I'm going to say, hey, Sarah, by the way, who do you know that needs to do this with you? Not do you know somebody? And I could have 20 students, guys. And in 20 students, I find that one person who has a network to get me 5 referrals, to call 5 people, to ask them who do they know. That 5 turns to 10. That 10 shows up. I only enroll 50% of them. Okay, I'm 5 further ahead than I was. And I spent no money. I spent a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of research. And then exponentially take that to the social media world. Who's in your market right now? Okay. For the karate world, what if, one of my favorite series is the John Wick series. You guys have seen those movies. Keanu trains at a martial arts school. He is a martial artist. There's a lot of weapon play in the John Wick series. And I told my dad this yesterday. I was like, because my dad owns a weapons company. I was like, Dad, what if Keanu releasing John Wick number 4 says, hey, by the way, these swords in the movie I use were made at Ultimate Weapons. It would be a game changer. My dad wouldn't be able to make enough swords. They import the material for these swords at like 1,000 a time or something like that, and then they have to hand make the rest of the product. They wouldn't be able to import enough. They couldn't get enough supplies. Okay, like who could promote you that would change the life of your future? And I'm telling you right now, it can be somebody as small as someone who's just owning a company or running a company in your business, near your business, connect with your business, wants to be part of you. Okay. When Lecrae was on stage getting 2 Grammys, okay, and he had that platform, and his kids were in our martial arts program. And someone asked him about how he raised his kids, and he talks about martial arts training, and he talks about where they train at. He's a Christian rapper. You don't think it aligns with the value systems of martial arts? Okay. He had the #1 hit single in the hip hop industry. In a market, by the way, if you ever go to Atlanta, Atlanta's, majority Black community. You don't think he has the following, the connection? That could have been massive, if not nationwide, at least for the Southeast. And he's posting on his social media, him wearing our stuff. All right. Let's see if I still have some of these photos. Yeah, but some of you guys are probably like, I don't even know who that is. And that's the thing is, you don't have to know. You know who needs to know? Your perfect customer. That's who needs to know. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause here. Questions on how you would do this? Who's going to do this? Why would you not do this? Questions, challenges, thoughts? Some of you guys are getting ready for a storm, right? Trying to see if I have this picture that he posted. He posted a few of them on social media. Ben, you're still driving, huh? Driving forever.
I just got to where I need to go. I'm just going to sit here and listen to you talk for another few minutes.
Let's go. You get to see me in a couple days. 2 days, right?
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited, man. We got a lot of stuff that we're gonna go really hardcore in that role play for holiday still, so I'm excited for that. I'm gonna find this picture after I get off the call.
I guess
Uh,
my biggest question about the influencer is really how do you find that? How do you put that out to your members?
yeah.
Um,
So
what's the wording? How do you find it without being thirsty or whatever they call it?
sure. Well, I'm always thirsty, so that's okay. I think the thing is, and I make a joke about it, but I think the reality is always be on the hunt. So one of the first things I do If I come, like when I come visit your school, theoretically, let's pretend I'm not there for holiday, so I'm just there hanging out with you on a Tuesday. And Sarah's seen me do this in a lot of time in her studio. One of the first things I do, I start asking questions of the customers. And I do this every day, everywhere I go. And I used to not do this because I was shy, whatever word you want to put to it, introvert. But I was like, man, I got to get better as a business leader. And so what I did is I was like, how do you get good at something? You practice, you do it more often. And so I start talking to people and I ask questions. And I find some common ground first, and then I start asking questions. And typically within one day, I know who, and I don't even know anything about that business, and I'm there for a day, I know who the influencers are. I went to Philadelphia this year in March, and there was a gym I want to go work out at. Okay. And while I'm at the gym, I noticed the guy from social media who's the gym owner. And this guy's building, right now, he's building the world's largest gym. $35 million purchase for the building, and he's turned into a gym. It's 500,000 square foot. And I just went up to him, and instead of asking for a picture, I went up to him. I see you guys. I'm going to answer these real quick. Instead of going up to him for a picture, which a lot of people do, I went up to him, shook his hand. I says, "Man, I watch your content. I follow you on social media." I said, "I'm proud of what you've accomplished." This guy's 35 years old, 34 years old, immigrant. I said, "I'm proud of what you accomplished, and I'm happy to be here at your gym." Inside this gym, they have a full restaurant. Went to the restaurant, ordered a protein shake. I see him outside talking. He's on a phone call. I wait till he gets off the phone. I says, "Hey, man, you mind if I just talk to you for a few minutes, ask you some questions about your business?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." We spend 30 minutes together. He gives me his personal cell number. He commits to speaking at an event for us. Um, and all it took was conversation. And I wanted nothing in exchange other than just his time, which is a resource. Okay. So how do I start? One is I give something. I give attention. I give love. So my customers, I should be giving attention. I should be giving love. I should be connecting with every parent. I should know what every parent does. Are they a stay-at-home mom? Stay-at-home moms can be big influencers. Do you know how many stay-at-home moms are blogging nowadays or using social media as a platform? So like I just start with I should be thirsty, so to speak, always. Okay, never be full. Stay hungry is what Arnold Schwarzenegger said. And so that way I stay close to what's going on in my business. Then if I don't have that ability, if I don't know and I'm trying to speed this up, literally just start communicating. You guys should be emailing or posting daily anyway. It's just asking a question. Okay. Put out some data points. Hey parents, I'm trying to create a database. I'm curious what everyone does for hobbies. I'm curious what everyone does for work. Just ask. People like talking about themselves. Okay. Get people talking about themselves. And they be ready to take the conversation somewhere else when it's ready and performed for. I'm gonna find this picture and show you guys at some point. Just I don't know where it's at on my phone, and it wouldn't search it up. Um, so I would start there. Then, like what are the things that I'm gonna do in the conversation part? Is I like I said, pretending that I know my perfect customer, pretending I know like what demographic I really want to search. When I find a person who aligns with that, then I'm not going for the juggler right off the bat. You're closing somebody on the opportunity of something. Um, and what most people do is they really don't want anything other than just to help people. And so it'd be something similar as once the relationship's established, depending on what value I believe they add to it. For example, if I was getting someone like Keanu to promote or Tom Brady, I'm willing to give up a lot. All right. The offer I have on the table right now is 60% of all future business revenue to this individual or his nonprofit in perpetuity for life. That's what the offer I have currently out there. Because I believe it would take me from what I think in the next 36 months will be about a $10 million a year company. I think it would make us worth 70 to $100 million. I think it would be that big of a change, maybe more, maybe more. He collaborated with a liquor company, sold it for 600 something million dollars or whatever. Like everything he can touch right now, and there's gonna be a window of time maybe. The guy who's in Deadpool right now, I think I don't know if he still owns or sold it, but he has a gin company. And because of his influence and his ability to market, like it made him a billionaire. Not acting didn't make him a billionaire, but his ability to market and leverage influence made him a billionaire. LeBron's not a billionaire from basketball. It's the other stuff from the platform of basketball. That's his influence. Okay. So depending on the scale, what are you willing to give? And a lot of times, if someone's just a micro influencer in your community, a lot of times they want nothing in return, and you don't have to offer first. You ask questions. So it could be very simple, like, "Hey, Sarah, what would it take for you to talk about what we do with your kid? What would it take?" And a lot of times they'll say, nothing. Just a lot of times it's nothing. So you would scale that based on what you believe is the value that they're going to get back in return, right? And like for the guy I'm going after, there's nothing I can give him that's going to really improve his life, except there is something I think. What I believe I offer to the table is to create a legacy opportunity in a space where I think he could supersede the biggest icon in American culture in the space that he made his money and name and notoriety in. That's what I believe I could offer. And you can't buy that with money. I'll give you context, guys. Who's ever been to Walmart? Anybody been to Walmart? Okay. Who's ever been to Kmart? Anybody been to Kmart before? Kmart and Walmart were started in the exact same year. Did anybody know that? Kmart and Walmart started in the same year. Kmart had private equity money and public money. And within, I think, less than 2 years, they had 250 stores. They were started in the 60s. In that same span, remember Walmart started by a guy named Sam Walton. In the same time span, Walmart only had 21 or 22 stores. One had 250, one had 22. Who's still in business now? Who's one of the biggest players? And go look at the top 20 richest people in the world. 4 of them are his kids. That's some crazy shit. Everybody wants to talk about Elon and Bill Gates. Yeah, imagine having all your kids on the list, right? If they put their money together, they're definitely number one. So, speed's important, but to have longevity, you can't buy it with money. Money gets you there fast. It doesn't keep you sustainable. And so I think that what I can offer this person is not money. It's something that he can't pull off without resources that in our community you can't buy with money. And I know that it's a 99.9% chance I'm going to get a big N and an O. And yet, why would I do it? Is because I know if I get a maybe, I could turn a maybe to a yes. And if I get a yes, it changes the industry. It changes more people's lives than I can imagine. And I got 2 people I'm going after, but one person is my number one, would be a game changer. And I know it's pretty much an impossible thing. All right. And then I'm gonna answer this one, and I'll let you guys go. I think this even came up yesterday about taking pictures and stuff for social media. So I always use this analogy. And Curtis, this one's a good one for you, and we can kind of touch base on this. I always use this scenario in my mind. What if I had no help? My staff's not here. I'm by myself. I'm on an island. Okay. And so if I'm in a martial arts school and I know I got no money, no resources, I told you how I would market, but now I got to go teach classes. I got to go teach the class. I got to have a product. While I'm teaching, I know my best opportunity to promote, market, where I'm in control, is to actually show what I do, not to talk about, to show. People see better than they hear. People see better than they hear. Well, I can't do that while I'm doing I can't do both. I'm not superhuman yet. So a simple thing is, before class, because I'm asking questions, I stay thirsty, so to speak, what Ben said. I'd be like, hey, Johnny, hey, listen, during classes, would you mind, could you help me out a little bit and take a couple pictures of the class? Hey, I know I want you to focus on your son a little bit, take some pictures, and then a couple of videos occasionally. And would you do that and send them to me in a class? And I'm gonna teach 4 classes that day. I'm gonna ask 4 different people. Each class I'm getting something. And out of all of that content in a day, I might get 2 or 3 good pieces. I might get a bunch. It doesn't matter. I do that a couple times throughout the month. Okay. And I select the people I want because I either trust them or maybe I need them to pay more attention to their own kid right? Could be a backwards way to get them to connect a little bit with their kid. And then I have content while I'm doing what I do best. I do this at events. Every time I go to a tournament, I tell parents, I can't be at every ring. Guys, we take videos of your kids, we take pictures. And then I get them to send it to me. Hey, if you post on social media, use this hashtag so I can go search for it. One, but two, so it starts creating people talking about who you are, what do you do, what do you need? And all you guys need more people, which means you need more influence. And you're going to get more influence by using someone else's influence. And so if you're not posting on social media every day and you're not getting your customer base to post for you every day, you're not creating that fandom and you're just fighting uphill battle. And all this takes no money and very little time. Take some intention.